Buck up, Darren. It's gonna be a ball. It's time for Must Have Seen TV, the podcast dedicated to the sitcoms of the 20th century from I Love Lucy to News Radio. I'm your TV guide, Brett White, and I'm also a senior reporter producer for Decider.com. And say hello to the Dick York to my Dick Sergeant, Ethan K. Hi, Ethan.
Hello. I just did something. I just wiggled my nose like on Bewitched.
Wait, that's how you wiggle your nose?
I can't wiggle my nose.
Wait.
We're trying.
I can. I mean,
I think that she moved her upper lip.
Oh, yeah, maybe. I actually just move one nostril at a time.
Oh, that's too much coordination for me. I
flare back and forth. But yes, so welcome to the holiday gauntlet. Ooh, which is pretty much 3 straight months of holiday episodes, because for some reason, when America was designing its calendar, they were like, we definitely need 3 major holidays in 3 straight months.
They end load it, so everyone kind of enjoys it, and it goes out, and then you're kind of stuck with cold weather with a couple occasional holidays, but they want kind of like the big centerpieces.
Here's the big bang of holidays. So, and I didn't do a holiday gauntlet last year, so we're hopping right in with Halloween, the 1960s. Before we get to any of that, I will first say I am dressed up. As you go to the YouTube and see that I am wearing my period accurate tuxedo. This tuxedo is from, I think, 1967.
Woo!
So it does actually look a lot like the ones Darren and Arthur wear in this episode. It's got the rounded shawl collar. I also have I got a vest. And I'm head to toe in this.
For those of you listening on the podcast, Brett stood up and showed off the vest.
It looked tuxedo.
It looks very good. And do you miss the days of parties where people would dress up in tuxedos?
Yes, I never went to one. I mean, no. We don't do that ever.
The only times I've ever done that is if anything with the Freemasons. And that's, once again, Ethan's a Freemason, but Freemasons often wear tuxedos. It's kind of like the uniform.
Oh yeah, because my grandfather, that's why he had so many tuxedos that I now own that I need to actually get tailored.
Well, there you go.
I have 4.
They have history. They have provenance.
Yeah. That's crazy. Wait, do you own a tuxedo?
I do own a tuxedo.
Well, where is it?
You didn't tell me we were wearing tuxedos. I thought you were dressing like Endora.
Oh, no. Yeah. So listeners, I will be doing Endora drag at some point this month. It's just, I do not, the wig needs to be done. I don't. Hairstyling is the last thing on my list. But yeah, I'll be turning an Endora look. I also got a Morticia gown, and I have a Gomez suit, so there'll be all sorts of, but this is also Halloween appropriate for this episode, so.
Quite a lot.
Yeah.
This was a great episode. It is a Technicolor dream. I loved
it. So before we get into the episode, we have a DM on Twitter, which I'm just going to read. Ooh. Because DMs are not sacred. I don't know, but
they didn't want to make this one public, which says a lot.
No, it's just at Sir Voltagon DM'd at Must Have Seen TV and said, as always, it's a treat to hear a new episode. I'm loving Brett, I'm loving Barb, and I'm loving Ethan. Hi. Yes. If there's any room for requests, could I suggest one of my Nick at Night favorites? Get Smart. It's good comfort food when they're not relying on racial stereotypes. Accurate. And maybe Barb could find some groovy 60s spy chic and compete with the iconic and lovely Ms. Barbara Feldon. Absolutely. So we did Get Smart on the podcast during the pandemic in 2020, but we did the pilot episode, which is in black and white, which is not fun.
There you go.
Which is not fun, because when you think Get Smart, you think color.
And that's very appropriate for the Bewitched. Bewitched started out in black and white and ended up going into color.
And also, I do believe the same costume designer that did Samantha Stevens and 99 also did Mary Tyler Moore, Mary Richards. So it's this I think she's like this iconic. I mean, yeah, if you did all 3 of those, these are 3 of the chicest ladies in sitcom history. So
and it's funny that you brought it up too, because before the podcast recorded, I was showing Brett something that I had just got in the mail, which was a book by one of my favorite authors, Ricky Jay, who was a fantastic magician, did off-Broadway shows, tons of movies and TV. And I got a book of his that he autographed to Mel Brooks It was in Mel Brooks's library, and Mel gave it to Carl Reiner either as a gift or lent it out. So it was in Carl Reiner's library when he passed, and it was part of his estate. And now I have it.
Which is insane.
It's wild how things are just out there.
Yeah, if you had oh god, what do they call it when if you touch something like psychomancy, or what is it like?
Psychometry.
Yes, like Longshot in the X-Men. You touch something, you get all the memories of it. And I think Shatterstar now has that too, which makes sense.
I've done it before, but I haven't done it in a while.
Well, this is something you need to do it on.
I've heard stories about psychics who go through museums and just stand in front of things and get like a whole bunch of information off pictures and relics and stuff like that, which is honestly something I would love to be able to do, but I'm not that good a psychic.
No. Okay. Well, speaking of spooky information.
Wait, yeah, spooky information. Brett, what are you watching these days?
Oh, I totally even forgot. I'm trying to think if I should talk about something good or something garbage. Well, I mean, I've been watching a lot of Ink Master.
Oh,
the tattoo competition show.
Yeah, that's a little outside your purview.
I love competition shows. So there's, anything that's any reality show that is based around an artistic endeavor, which tattooing is an artistic endeavor. I always find it interesting because I get to learn about it. So I'm covering it for work, which means I wrote how to watch it, and that was it. But
yeah,
I've gone back and watched the previous 3 seasons, and it's cool to see. I don't know anything about tattoos, and I didn't know that there's all these. Of course there is. There's all these different sub-genres of tattooing, and people can be like black and white realism but they're not new school. But they Japanese or traditional. There's all this stuff. The one thing I don't like about the show is that there are just these interstitials where it's essentially wrestling bits. You know how wrestlers, well, I'm gonna come for you, Hulk Hogan. There's just this thing of just okay, I can just imagine the producer being okay, now everyone say something mean about someone's thing and then act like you're gonna actually throw punches. And it's we don't need this.
a couple years ago, I was in Japan, and I was watching a TV program which I loved, which was a history program. But it was all about battles and wars. And before every battle, all the generals got together and did those wrestling promos. Your army's going down. Your army's going to fall at the river. And it was done like that. And it was really good. It was all it was done with news reporters, but everybody got interviewed as it was happening. It was wonderful.
Oh, wow. That kind of reminds me of that Ultimate Warrior show, I think it was called, that aired on Spike 15 years ago. That was would a samurai stand up against a Confederate soldier or whatever?
Oh, yeah.
And then they would take the weapons and actually accurate. It was I loved stupid things.
That's silly.
A knight versus a ninja and stuff like that. What are you watching?
I gotta put a shout out for Reboot on Hulu.
Okay.
Really enjoying it. And this is coming from someone who is now doing a podcast about sitcoms. This is a really good sitcom. I don't know if you've gotten a chance to watch it. 4 episodes are on Hulu so far. It's got an amazing cast. The jokes are really good.
Judy Greer.
Michael Key. Yep. Paul Reiser, Johnny Knoxville, and just a whole bunch of other people that you're oh, I know them. I've seen them before. The guy who played Colonel Sanders in Spaceballs is in it. It's everything that we talk about, especially the behind the scenes stuff on our show, but it's also really, really, really funny. Megan and I just cannot stop laughing at it. It's so good.
Yeah, I've been mostly just watching Ink Master, She-Hulk, and Andor, which, oh my god, is a really interesting trifecta of shows. But
it's a good week it's a good kind of season for TV. We got a lot of good shows out there. Shows coming back that we can talk about on future episodes. Let's get to Bewitched.
Yes. So this week we are traveling to October 27th, 1966. Way, way out. Roll the box office. 96 Tears by Question Mark and the Mysterians top the charts.
That's a good one.
Yeah, and ABC aired the Bewitched episode Twitch or Treat. Ethan, you must have seen Twitch or Treat before today.
I haven't, but I'm sure you have because
I watch it every.
It's a very episode. Paul Lynde episode.
Yeah, I watch every Halloween. Well, every Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. I spend the entire respective months, watching nothing but holiday sitcom episodes that, just nonstop. And so I've watched this one like every year for the past, I don't know, 5-6 years.
But okay. we should tell people where they can find it.
Oh, it's on Freevee.
It's on Freevee and it's on the Roku channel. I watched it on Freevee because I was watching it on my laptop.
Which Freevee is the streaming service formerly known as IMDb TV, which basically is Prime Video. Like if you have Amazon, it's just there. It's free. You can watch it with ads. I did not know that Amazon owned IMDb, and that's why that was a thing until very recently, really. And now they changed it to Freevee, so whatever. It is, what is your history with Bewitched? Because growing up, I only ever saw the black and white episodes because Nick at Night didn't get the color episodes until way later.
I feel like I've seen more of the color episodes than the black and white episodes. I remember enjoying it because I liked the premise that, it's witch, goofiness. It's a goofy show. It's made for kids. I feel like the jokes are for kids.
This is a very good kid show.
Yeah, so I watched it a lot when I was much younger. It was funny that Paul Lynde as Uncle Arthur was such a famous presence, and I did not watch any episodes with him. I didn't remember any episodes. I just happened to watch the ones he wasn't in.
He's only in 9. He isn't in a lot of them. Everyone thinks he was in it a lot more, but I think he was in between 9 or 11 of the 200 plus. So yeah, it is crazy. He basically did one a season, maybe 2 a season. This, as we'll get to, is part 2 of a low-key 2-parter, which is super rare for the 60s.
This was an 8-part. I mean, this was an 8-season series. This went on for quite a while
into the 70s. So there were way more color episodes than black and white. But growing up, I just thought this was a black and white show, and it wasn't until I got streaming that I was like, oh my god, there are color. There's a ton of color.
Yeah.
So this week on Must Have Seen TV, we're talking about the Bewitched episode Twitch or Treat. It is the 7th episode of season 3, and it was written by Robert Riley Crutcher and James Henderson and directed by William Asher. Here's how Freevee describes the episode. Buckle up. Darren is incensed when Indora makes a house appear on a vacant lot near the Stevens' home for a Halloween party. Uncle Arthur, who was constantly bickering with his sister, arrives. When Samantha begs her mother to remove the house, Indora decides to hold her party in the Stevens' home and lavishly transforms the living room. That night, Boris approaches the house with Ava, a black cat. Before ... and then you just can't see the rest of it. Ethan, how accurate is this description?
I mean, was this the pitch for the episode?
It's just a fucking outline of it. It's just the entire plot of the entire thing. So
it's a book report. It's what I did on my Halloween vacation.
Jeez. Okay, yeah. So this is a Halloween episode. This is called Twitch or Treat because I think they already had an episode called Trick or Treat. But Twitch or Treat's fun. So the episode
Frozen.
You're back? No, I'm back. Yeah. The episode begins with Darren and Sam. Darren's trying to get her to go to a movie because he just wants to hide out. It is Halloween, and he's like, let's do something else.
He wants to chill, and I can understand why, because every day in this house is something weird is happening. He just wants to go to a movie, enjoy a Halloween. He's played by Dick York. Dick York is a great actor. I started doing a lot of research on everybody, and everything just came down to everybody in the show has a list of TV credits a mile long, a list of movie credits a mile long. Nothing particularly stands out. There are a couple highlights, like Dick York was in one of my favorite movies, Inherit the Wind.
But was he the lead of that?
He was. He played the teacher,
Clarence Darrow or whatever. No, that's the lawyer.
That was the lawyer. That was Spencer Tracy. Great movie. If you have never seen it, it's the Scopes Monkey Trial.
I've seen it.
I just showed
2006 though.
I showed it to Megan last year. It's a fantastic movie. But Dick York is the first Darren Stevens.
He's the most prominent. Dick Sargent was only in the last 3 or 4 seasons. There are Bewitched super fans that will be mad about. Darren was in an episode of The Twilight Zone that also starred Hayden Rourke.
Really?
He was a bank teller who gets cursed with telepathy, and he overhears. I believe Hayden plays Does he play a guy who comes in and thinks about how he's going to like use the money to like, or like he's like stealing or something? And I don't know. It's very brief, but yeah, it's a good.
I like Dick York. I like Dick York. He's an interesting actor. He did go through some hard times. He had back problems.
Yeah, that's why he had to leave Bewitched, because he had, and which you can kind of see like in his Darren is way more physical. He is a very physical comedy actor, and so like if you get a back injury, that's really that ain't gonna help. I do like that. This is back in the time, or I guess they still do this now. It's like when they just say like, what do you want to go see? Genre. It's like Western at the Rialto, Egyptian epic at the Fillmore, or whatever.
Is that because there's more advertising now and we know the names of movies?
Yeah, I guess. More. Yeah, like you would just be like, hi, I would like to see the Western, please. I don't know.
Yeah. Is it because with the internet, there's you look up any movie and it'll have a really good synopsis of it. Yeah. Whereas if you're just looking up in the newspaper, maybe it doesn't have a good synopsis. It's just this is what's playing. This is the title
playing alone, which is why it's just like the horses will carry. It's like, okay, gotta really stamp like Tears of Egypt. Like, I do like that Darren. They do a really good job of giving quick exposition, because he's like, Halloween, it feels like it's been Halloween for a week. Well, with your mother and Uncle Arthur and houses appearing and disappearing. And then he like, goes over and looks out the window, or does he like, there's no house there, but then a house does appear.
House appears. It's just like, boop. There's a lot of that. Like we turn the camera off.
Yeah,
and we turn the camera back on, and now something is there that wasn't there before. It happens throughout. It happens throughout Bewitched, and also this
Genie
episode.
Thing. And Genie. I mean, they actually called it. Oh God, I can't remember what they called it. But on Genie, they had an actual name for it, and I can't remember what it was. But I've had to write about it, and there were like. I think like Barbara Eden was very good at it. I think Elizabeth Montgomery was very good at it. Bill Daly on Genie, not good at it, because it is like the skill of like they have to literally yell, "Hey, freeze!" and then everyone just has to freeze for however long it takes them to set up that stunt. But so what Samantha's like, well, Mom, she has the house because she wants to throw a Halloween party there. There'll be a lot of interesting people. And Darren says, interesting, yes, people, no, which is funny, but also
that's a little
racist or speciesist or magicist,
yeah.
Which is the undercurrent of the show.
It really is, and she gives him the benefit of the doubt and lets him lead conversations, but at the same time, he is also fairly bigoted.
Oh yeah, no, like that's why I have in my notes. Like, I think that Dick York in this role is very cute. I think that he's very handsome, like goofy, like a goofy handsome. He sucks though. Darren, like this Darren sucks. He's just a bad husband.
He is a bad husband, and I think there's a lot of like Elizabeth Montgomery as Samantha, kind of like sucking up to him and kind of just
usually. I do like that she ends up doing whatever she wants anyway behind his back. So it's like there is that kind of like she actually has the power, but in the 60s she has to let him think that he has the power because a man has to have some power. Whatever. So this is when we hear the Uncle Arthur from off screen, and they turn around and he's in a painting and he's wearing an amazing hat and this great double-breasted suit.
Uncle Arthur, played by Paul Lynde,
icon,
who we did an episode of the Paul Lynde Show, which was also directed by William Asher.
All right, yeah.
William Asher married to Elizabeth Montgomery.
Mm-hmm.
At the time of this was filming, they were married. They were married for a number of years, but they split after the show ended.
I'm glad we get to watch a good Paul Lynde thing.
It's a very good Paul Lynde. I think he works as a guest star.
And also, I think just the character of Arthur plays into it is like the best vehicle to get Paul Lynde-ness on television, because like, what was his name? Paul Sims on the Paul Lynde Show was just an angry, cantankerous, grumpy dad. Whereas Uncle Arthur, his like baseline is mischievous, which allows him to have a much more positive energy. Like he doesn't shut things down. He actually gets things going. And I think that takes Paul Lynde's very like frantic kind of grating energy, but it uses it for like the best, like for ultimate good. And it is just the perfect role for him.
He works really well as a heckler. as kind of like a voice in the gallery, kind of throwing things out there, lobbing bombs. And
Statler and Waldorf could never.
It's a Mystery Science Theater kind of thing that I love. And then if you put one of those people, like, who would watch the Statler and Waldorf show?
No, you need to see them yelling at Miss Piggy.
Yeah, you need them. You need them to have, they need to react to things, and the things that he was reacting to in Paul Lynn's show were things that he just had to be mad about. He couldn't have fun. He was just angry.
And this is him like gently ribbing everyone, which is just great. It's all killer, no filler. We get the theme song. I mean, do you have anything to say about the opening credits, which are of course iconic?
The opening credits have been parodied by so many things.
I mean, WandaVision,
exactly.
Recently.
I just got a Sabrina comic where it's been done. The Dan Parent redid it in the Bewitched style. It is, and now there is a statue of Samantha in Salem based off that opening credits.
Yeah, her wearing the witch costume that she actually like rarely wears. Oddly enough, she mostly wears them in Christmas episodes because Santa Claus is a recurring character on Bewitched. Like every single Christmas, Sam's like taking people to the North Pole or bringing Santa Claus to wherever the hell they live. I think like probably Connecticut or something. And it's just like, let Santa do his job. So when we get back, Darren is like laying down the law of like, this house needs to go. And like, this is where I will say, I do think Darren is correct. That in terms of like things that one could do to blow the cover of a witch's existing, blinking a house in a subdivision, like this ain't like out in the boonies. This is like a, boomtown 1950s, like what Eisenhower or like we're building suburbs out the wazoo. A house just disappearing and appearing is
that's noticeable. That's a red flag. It's funny that you say that because I wrote in my notes, Darren is a bully, but is it justified?
Yeah, I wrote like Darren is laying down the law. I mean, he's not wrong. It is a disturbance.
It is. There's a house there that's not there. And then it goes away again.
Yeah. Well, I always write down half of exchanges, but she says we haven't got a goldfish bowl. He says something like, this isn't like your mom like disappearing a goldfish bowl or something, or
I thought it was like
living in a goldfish. Well, then Sam says, well, we haven't got a goldfish bowl. And Darren says, Sam. And then we get Sam's catchphrase, which is, well, I love that is Samantha Stevens' catchphrase. Well,
and Darren's catchphrase seems to be Samantha.
Yeah.
Which is it's been parodied a million times. I probably came from something else before, but just that like angry wife. Yeah. And so Mother is outside, like Darren like leaves, I guess, to go off to work, and Endora is outside sit floating in a tree. She Samantha goes to the backyard after Darren leaves to go to his advertising job because everybody in sitcoms works in advertising.
Yep, advertising, architects, like these are like the interesting professions.
Someone's probably written a thesis on this, but it is a real thing where characters, especially male characters, go to advertising jobs. We saw it in Bosom Buddies, we saw it here.
Yeah. Well, I said in one of the previous Bewitched episodes we've done that like when I think like Bewitched and Mad Men feel tonally similar in terms of like design and aesthetic. Like there are a lot of Mad Men interior design looks just like Bewitched, specifically Bewitched, like not even anything else from this time period. It's just there's something about the Bewitched vibe that they really did pull from. But this is also where, speaking of furniture and stuff, this is where I noticed, okay, patio furniture, because we're looking for patio furniture. And I'm like, I don't even know what kind of patio furniture I like. So just seeing some period mid-century one, I was like, okay, that's a start.
There's one thing that I noticed about, and this is totally pedantic. This is the ground that they have is concrete. It's a green concrete with little like sparkles of like mica and stuff in it. And I noticed that was the interior as well as the exterior. Because there are a couple times where they had to flash like down on the floor during the later scenes. And I'm like, that's a concrete floor in their living room. That's not a carpeted floor. This is just studio floor.
Yeah, well, like in a
was weird.
concrete floors are a very Palm Springs thing. Like that's a very mid-century kind of thing. It isn't so much a suburban home in Connecticut
Yeah.
thing.
My grandparents had a concrete floor in their basement. But I felt this was their living room, and I felt it was just like peek behind the curtain. Usually you don't see the carpet, but there isn't any carpet, so we're just going to show you the floor of the studio.
I wonder if that's different in other episodes. I wonder if they pulled it up because they knew they were doing the party scene and they didn't. I don't know. That's the thing. I don't. Yeah.
I don't know.
She does say, like, Endora says she wants a small gathering, something where she can keep Uncle Arthur out, which of course just summons Uncle Arthur to sit float in the tree next to her, wearing his amazing suit that I love.
Yeah, they're in the tree, and does she say she wants to do her rendition of The Night Before Halloween, or does Paul criticize that, she's going to recite Night Before Halloween?
Yeah, I think she says she wants to have the house. She wants, to do her thing. At this point, I wrote, I love Agnes Moorehead and Paul Lynde's chemistry together. Yeah. It is very lesbian and gay man, frenemy brother sister kind of vibe, and I love that. And I was like, what? I'm pitching this now. Kate McKinnon and Billy Eichner as young Andorra and Arthur Chronicles. Can we get this?
She's another one of those actors that's just was constantly working. Interesting fun fact is
she in the bat with Vincent Price.
That one I don't remember,
because I watched a Halloween or a Vincent Price movie with her in it where I think it was a bat because they just had to keep
I thought the bat was Bela Lugosi. I thought the bat was Bela Lugosi. She might have been, but she was part of Orson Welles's cast of radio actors. So her first credit is Citizen Kane.
Oh my God!
Followed by The Magnificent Ambersons.
Yeah, she was in The Bat.
Which
is a very weird movie. It is a lot of it's just them hiding in a bedroom, trying to avoid the windows and getting a bat in their hair. So silly. She does end up blinking the house away. She also then blips Paul Lynde out, or Arthur out, onto the ground, and you can see his Beatle boots, his Chelsea boots, which I am wearing.
You went really accurate with this one.
Yeah. So I made sure to wear those.
Very nice.
And then I love Paul Lynde says, anybody who would knock someone out of a tree is sick.
Which got huge laughs. Everything gets huge laughs in this.
Well, yeah, because it's all fake.
It's all fake laughs.
Because this couldn't be shot in front of a studio audience, because they would not be getting restless having to sit around waiting for people to be moved in and out of trees.
Yeah, it wouldn't have made sense. It's very noticeable because there's some lines that just aren't funny that get huge laughs.
I do love that that cadence or whatever is very whoever invented blah 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 should get drug out in the street and shot, Garfield. Which, looking back, I'm I can't believe that was a line regularly in a Saturday morning cartoon. Garfield.
Can you imagine if Garfield was voiced by Paul Lynde?
Oh God, opposite energies between him and Lorenzo Music.
I hate Mondays and everybody else.
They should be drug out into the street and shot. So then Endora's cool. So I'll just have it in your living room. And then she immediately just blinks, or she more bibbity bobbity is, I guess.
There's a question that I have. There we see many different kinds of magic. There's bibbity bobbity hands, which I just did if you're watching the video.
Yeah.
Then there's snapping. Everybody snaps. And in this episode, Samantha didn't wiggle her nose at all. I didn't
even notice that. Yeah, she does a lot of, but
Maybe is it a time thing? Is it
maybe it's a personal preference?
Yeah, which is snap and things happen. Because that happened multiple times throughout the show.
Spoiler, I think that's how Willie Mays pops away.
Willie Mays. Right? Spoiler, Willie Mays shows up in one of 2 appearances on Bewitched.
I did write she bibbity bobbities the living room, or the entire interior of the house, into being her ideal party. Well, her ideal party decoration, which in universe I think is not meant to be good, because Arthur does say this is Oh God. Like everything you do, you did this in super stupendous, glorious bad taste.
Bad taste.
It's just a bunch of drapes and curtains and then a weird fountain with a woman statue and then some like weird glowing orbs in the fountain. And that's all that the decorations are.
And there's a stuffed bird on top of the fountain.
Yes.
A stuffed bird, a stuffed dove on top of the fountain. Icing on the cake.
And right as that happens, Gladys number 2 comes over, like she knocks on the door, and then Arthur blinks her so that she's actually knocking on her house, and her husband Abner opens the door. And I don't like this Gladys Kravitz.
This is a show that had a lot of personnel changes because people died. People like Darren got injured and had to leave. Marion Lorne, who played Aunt Clara, passed away
after winning an Emmy, I do believe, or like posthumously.
And so did Alice Pierce for playing Gladys Kravitz. They both won posthumous Emmys.
Paul Lynde was like, people would ask him, "Do you wish that you had won an Emmy?" And he was like, "No, I don't want to be dead." Like, because he was like, he noticed that. I like the original Gladys. I just felt had more agency or levels, whereas this Gladys, and I'm sure she has her benefits or whatever, is just always, she's at a 10 at all times. Abda. Like there's just she's just a frantic mess at all times. Which I guess if you've been being gaslit by the entire world for the past 2.5 years, maybe you would be at this point now.
I love that they show her house, because what happens is she comes over and then Uncle Arthur snaps his fingers and she opens the door and she's in her own house. Yeah. And Abner's there, her husband, and they still deck out their entire house as a set.
Well, so I guess that they probably had that because it is heavily featured in the most fucked up Halloween episode that we did not watch. Oh God, I can't remember what it's fucking called. It's the one where Tabitha blinks a whole bunch of storybook monsters to life, and then they have to go trick or treating, and it's very insane.
That sounds
very upsetting.
I understand why you wanted to do this one. This is an Uncle Arthur spotlight episode.
Yeah,
completely understand.
And I feel like I might have actually done that other Halloween one. I can't even remember what I have done on this podcast. And I wrote an article about it. So Samantha like begrudgingly is like, okay, yes, you can have your party here under one condition. Arthur has to come. And then Endora's like, that's blackmail. And then Sam says that's love. And now I just want to talk about the adorable, perfect relationship between Sam and Arthur. I love them.
They did so much together. They have so much chemistry. They even say it later. We always did make a good team.
I know. And so like I wrote an article about this, I think for the anniversary of Pauline's debut as Uncle Arthur, of like, Uncle Arthur is the first like Guncle, gay uncle, which is a term that I believe Tori Spelling came up with on her reality show. I did research for my Hayden workbook. I was like, who coined the term Guncle? And I think it was like someone on like an Eve reality show like 15 years ago, 20 years ago. But I love it, like, because Arthur is so clearly a homosexual. I do believe that he has like a female love interest in like one weird episode, but he doesn't like that lady. His energy, like the fact that like they show this like really special bond between the gay uncle and his niece, and it is so beautiful and fun. And I just like that, because she could easily be as annoyed as Endora or as annoyed as Darren, but I love that the fact that she's on his side softens the edges of an Arthur because you trust Sam.
And that also, I mean, it speaks to Elizabeth Montgomery's not just like character in the show, but character as a person. She was a very vocal. Exactly. She was a very vocal gay rights, AIDS advocate, especially closer to the end of her life.
She did that Pride Parade like the late 80s with Dick Sargent, the second Darren, who was gay and passed of AIDS. But also like there was just a ton of oh my God, well, my brain is just blanking. My brain is just blanking on everyone's fucking names. Maurice Evans, who plays Samantha's father, and also Dr. Zayas. I love that. Homosexual, handsome, debonair British homosexual. And then there's also rumors that Abner might have been gay, but I can't find any like concrete evidence of that, or even like speculation. So like the Bewitched and Genie sets were just very homosexual, and I love that.
And I liked that you've done all this research on them, because of all my friends, Bewitched and I Dream of Jeannie better than all of them by 10, by 20.
And believe me, I don't know nothing compared to a lot of the great people I've met over the past 2.5 years. Please, someone give me a literary agent.
Give this man a book.
God, yeah, it's fun. So then when Darren comes home, Sam immediately just like tries to butter him up. She's kissing him, she's being affectionate, and then she has to break it to him. And
he's like, not in front of the neighbors, which is something that is of its time. Like PDA is much more acceptable nowadays than it was back then. That back then, a kiss in front of the neighbors, even like a very chaste kind of welcome home kiss. No, do not do this. Like it stood out to me. Yeah. And then he comes into the house, and then you get the Samantha.
And then well, we're doing it. Now it's party time. I did like the spooky night transition. The like spooky moon and the clouds coming over, and I love that.
So there's people in the house. They're dancing to music that is piped in.
It is a party. It is formal attire. All the men are in tuxedos. There's also a gold lame matador. There's a guy who's dressed kind of like Aladdin, like he has like a turban but then like a suit of some sort on, but it's all gold.
Yeah.
There's a floating tray going through, handing out hors d'oeuvres. Oh, I love it.
Darren's cool with it.
I mean, I will give him. I mean, they actually do point that out at the end of the episode. Like, you didn't. Okay, is Darren actually completely right throughout this entire episode? I'm like, because he did throw a big fit about the house blipping in and out of existence, which
bigoted but understandable.
Understandable, Jesus.
People are invited to his house that
he also was like, it's understandable that he wouldn't want his mother-in-law to just throw a party with all of her friends at their place. Well, it's like, this is not your home. You don't even like me, and I don't know your friends.
Darren is a bully, but is it justified?
Yeah, but like in this episode, when the party gets going, he's down to clown, which is good. He could have been just screaming about like, not near that clock, like, no, don't knock over that plate. Like he could have been a little bitch.
Yeah.
But he wasn't.
Don't spill your drinks on my concrete floor in my living room.
I do love that Darren is wearing a ruffle tuxedo shirt.
Everybody is dressed up really well. They're slow dancing at a house party. Like every house party,
tuxedo shirt.
House parties that I've been at, we're talking, we're playing games, or we are watching something and making fun of it on the television.
Well, so come to my Halloween party this year. Now that I have a back patio, we will all be waltzing.
Oh, okay. You've got the space for it.
Yeah.
How are you going to pump in the music, Brett?
Yeah, you'll have to put in AirPods. Oh my God, yes. Sam does say there's the pun of like, she says it right. It's like, it's ghost to ghost.
How's the music? Who's playing the music? It's ghost to ghost.
Yeah. In Dora's outfit, I did write that she's wearing all the pearls. She's just wearing just so many pearls.
Costume department just like went extra with it with her.
And Sam looks stunning and there's like very chic, form-fitting like black gown, but it's like off the shoulder that's like strapless, and it's like very, very beautiful. She's just one of the like classic beauties of all television.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. As just
Elizabeth
being like
Montgomery is just.
She carries herself so well in these episodes, and she's just it's that kind of like housewife glamour where even though I'm staying at home, I'm still going to look my best.
Well, and she has like, because there's like your Donna Reeds of the 50s, but Sam Stevens, she does wear pants, which is good. She also has all of the power in the relationship, even if Darren sometimes thinks he does.
Magical power.
And I like that, like, also Sam has this like mischievous side to her. Like she always gets to do really fun stuff and is always at the center of everything because it's her show. So I do think like she's just like this a platonic ideal of a classic sitcom lead.
That's why so many people just pattern, that's why WandaVision patterned the episodes about.
Oh yeah,
like that.
And that's like, you can tell, like, Elizabeth Olsen is very much doing an Elizabeth Montgomery in the second episode, obviously. Like, she's doing a very good job of it. She's very fucking good on that show. The subtle nods that she does to so many women, it's great. Then Dora's like, oh no, I forgot the caviar. And so she blinks in
a fish.
And it's just a fucking big, ugly fish.
It's not a sturgeon, because sturgeons are gigantic. No. It's like this little tiny like pike or something like that. She gets a fish.
And it turns out it's Arthur?
Yeah, it turns into Arthur. I don't know. It's just, it's visual snapping things appearing and disappearing. And then we get Arthur. But then we get Boris. And we get Eva.
Yeah.
So I gotta say, this is another one of those weird, like, little facts. There's one fact that it's gonna blow your mind, but this one is Barry Atwater plays Boris, another actor that has just a huge list of credits. But one of them was The True Story of Jesse James with Agnes Moorehead, Frank Gorshin, and your favorite friend Robert Wagner as Jesse James.
Ooh,
that was funny. But I remember him from the pilot episode of Kolchak the Night Stalker, where he plays the vampire.
Oh, well, that totally makes sense with his outfit.
I don't know if he keeps the accent, but he is he is this fantastic old school wizard in Bewitched. He's got a top hat, he's got a cape
with the red lining, and
which is still Dracula-ish.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, and so before that, I did want to ask you if you thought this was Paul or Arthur turns to Sam and it's like, your mother has always been first, last, and foremost a witch. Is that is the inference there? I mean, did audiences at home think bitch in their head?
Yes.
Like, is that like the,
yeah, they had to.
That line is very playing with, like, she's first and best and foremost a witch, which I think is like, that's, I mean, that's G-rated for today, but like, I don't know, like for like 1966, them maybe planting the word bitch into the adults audience's head is like kind of fun. And it's edgy.
It's something that Paul Lynde would say.
Yeah, you gotta love the guy.
It's something that Paul Lynde would say probably in the Paul Lynde Halloween special.
Yes.
She's such a witch. Like that kind of thing. Yeah.
So here's Boris and his pussycat, as he keeps saying or she keeps saying?
He keeps saying it. Pussycat.
Yeah, pussycat. So he turns her into Ava, the woman. He's like, by midnight, you're gonna be a cat again. She still has a tail. Gladys Kravitz sees all of this, and she, of course, does not like it.
It's a very strange dynamic. Like, is this his cat that he turns into his girlfriend? Is this his girlfriend that is sometimes also a cat? Do they have a relationship, but it seems open because he hits on Samantha and she hits on Darren.
Yeah. Well, and also they even talk about, like, I like this for, like, this is a routine. She's like, why do I always have to turn back by midnight?
Yeah, like, why do you have to turn?
Yeah, there's something weird going on there.
Are you dating or are you not dating? Like, make it official, Boris.
DTR, define the relationship.
Put a ring on it.
Jeez. Or a ring on a little bell on the collar.
Put a bell on it.
So Abner, he's like, Gladys is calling people, and he's like, how many people have to tell you you're crazy? But she calls the chairman of, like, the neighborhood council or something.
The Councilman Green.
Yeah. To, like, come and, like, check out this weird party. So
okay, it's a weird party.
Yeah, okay, I'll be there. So this is where back in the party is where Ava starts flirting with Darren, and they start dancing. Boris is dancing with Sam, and then Ava is dancing with Darren, and Ava is doing this, like, it's like this weird cat dance, or like she just like wiggles her body all the way to the floor and then comes back up.
That's not how cats dance. We both have cats.
Yeah, no, but I did write, like, so when she shows Darren how to do it, and he's like, okay, and then he starts doing the dance with her, and it's really cute. I was like, Darren's really cute doing this stupid dance.
And then they put a button on it by Eva, who apparently is also a witch, not just a cat.
All right.
Snaps her fingers, and he gets cat whiskers and a cat nose.
And she's like, I love a mustache.
It's the weirdest thing. And they're both dancing, and it's like, oh my gosh, look at like so is she a witch, or is she a witch, like a cat that's under a spell? Like this is
maybe
undefined.
she's a cat that he turns not into a girl, but a witch.
Oh, well.
Maybe like it's part of a package deal. I have no
idea. You get powers until midnight, and then you're a cat again. Like,
does the cat have powers? Could the cat like raise a paw and like do some stuff?
Then why can't the cat turn back into Eva?
Yeah, I feel like giving a cat any type of those kind of powers is a bad move.
Robert Riley Crutcher, this is a plot hole.
Yeah, what is going on? And so then like Sam comes over and like, she undoes the mustache whiskers.
Yeah.
Sends Eva away, and then she like says like, oh, she's a cat, and then Darren's like a kitty cat, and then I did like that she says genuine alley, which is really just genuine alley cat. I love that like shade.
The shade. And then we get an interesting cameo.
Oh yeah.
He's been on the show twice. Baseball player Willie Mays is standing there eating some hors d'oeuvres with Endora, and Darren goes to Samantha, is he and she goes, the way he hits home runs, you bet.
He only has 2 lines. He has like a weird "how doing," like he doesn't say the line.
Yeah.
But then he says, "Time for me to pop out to the ballpark," and then he snaps.
And
while like putting food in his mouth, I think.
So he's gone, but I know he comes back in a later episode because he's kind of like summoned to play catch with Tabitha. They're
okay. That's nice.
So he does 2 episodes. That episode is an episode I did see when I was younger, the baseball episode.
So there is like a good scene with Arthur and Darren together, which and so like again, this is where I tweet this like every single Halloween of just a screenshot of the 2 of them wearing tuxedos standing together, and also Arthur's always touching his arm. It seems kind of like to like, don't go anywhere, I'm talking to you is kind of the vibe, but I'm always just like, make them husbands. Like I just like they're just so cute together. I just like they're so adorable. I wrote, so handsome together.
That's amazing if they would ever do that in heaven. That's happening. That's happening in heaven.
But he's there basically just like dragging Endora's menu of just like, you should have heard what she served at the last thing, and just nonstop list of gross foods.
It kind of went on a little bit long, and Darren was obvious, like, I want to pay attention to the party, and Arthur's like, no, more.
He has the sexy cat lady rubbing up on him and like doing the pussy. Is this where she's like literally like rolling around on the ground in front of him?
Yes. She's genuine alley.
Yeah. And now this is where the Councilman Green, and then I honestly just have too many crushes in this episode because his adorable little assistant, who I just think is so cute, his little round guy in glasses and a 3-piece suit, Mr. Morgan, the campaign manager, who is like, so he didn't have a big career, but I have, of course, looked him up on IMDb. I'm trying to get to it right now. And he does appear in a couple other episodes that I've also seen. I was like, oh, it's that cute little campaign manager, nerdy guy from this. He was top cast. Joan Huntington plays Ava. Jim Begg plays Morgan, and he also, what else have I seen him in? He's in an episode of Happy Days.
But he's like all these other actors that are kind of spanning that divide between old school black and white TV and new school color, that they just have an enormous list of credits. That
he is on episode of That Girl, and then also a bunch of Andy Griffith shows as different characters. And also The Mothers-in-Law, Gomer Pyle.
They come in. I
Dream of Jeannie. That's it.
Okay, so he's been on
2 I Dream of Jeannies.
They all come in and do a couple episodes, all as different characters. But I was just looking down like every member of the cast, and it's just, I did 5 episodes of Gunsmoke, all as different characters. I did 3 episodes of this show, all as different characters.
It's like good work,
Everybody was working here. Everybody was a pro. This was nobody's first time out.
So I do like, so now Councilman Green and chairman or campaign manager Morgan are now like on the job. they turn around and like look at the Stevens' house, and they see a couple just like walk through the front door.
Yep.
Like they disappear. And then I did like Councilman Green's like, did you see that? And then Morgan's like, if you know what's good for you, neither did you.
Yeah.
No.
So already Morgan is like, this is going to be weird, and I don't really believe it.
Yeah. And so their whole bit, which I mean, we can probably just knock out all at once, is basically every single time they open the door at the Stevenses, Arthur blips them to the back door. So they open the door and immediately go out into the back patio. They just completely walk through the house.
So is it the purview of the local councilman to just walk into a house? Even if there's a party going on?
Party rules, and it's just like, hey man, they don't say exclusive. There's no sign.
I can just walk in.
Open to everyone. Well, also he is the councilman.
I don't want the council. The councilman can't come into my house.
No, I don't think so.
There's like,
especially a councilman that's up for re-election, and it's like, hey, barging into strangers' houses. I don't know if that's going to play well.
The councilman's not even a cop. What is he going to do? He can't. He can't be like, be quiet. No parties, because
I guess they were like, Gladys has already tried the cops. They're not coming anymore.
What are you going to do? Just like this?
She's well, I mean, that house keeps appearing and disappearing. That is something he would be concerned about.
That's a zone.
Hey, that's that house full of voters. Oh. But then they try to go through the window. Arthur magics them to the other side of the window, etc. This is the thinnest house I've ever been through. Like, and that's basically, is that their entire? They just
that's
like
their
give up.
Entire bit.
Yeah. Well, also like him and like Paul and Arthur and Sam like also kind of tag team with messing with them, and they're like, we always did make a good team, which they did.
Which got a huge laugh, and I was kind of surprised. And like, this is a line that we all agree with, and kind of like is heartwarming, but it is not a laugh line.
Yeah, no,
it is not.
So now it's like time for we're gonna put on a show. Now it's time for "'Twas the Night Before Halloween," which I'm going to chat you. You'll play in Dora, and I will be Arthur.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Wait, before we get there, and Dora says, "What would you like to do next?"
Oh yeah.
And this is where the research came in, and it knocked me off my feet. Arthur triggers Boris to heckle her.
Yeah.
By saying, "Sing Melancholy Baby," which got a huge laugh. And I had to look it up. I'm like, because I've heard it before. So Melancholy Baby was a song from the early 1900s that's been recorded a million times. And for some reason in like the 50s and 60s, it kind of became like Play Freebird.
Oh, weird.
Because it's like this sappy torch song. It's considered the first torch song. It's about like, you're sad and I love you, but I will comfort you as you cry, kind of stuff. It's
real
a very
banger.
It's a sappy song.
Party.
But it's like, I remember it being referenced kind of that same way. Play Melancholy Baby in like Mad Magazine from the time period. So like, it's a thing. So this is the fact that is going to blow your mind. The first person to ever sing it in 1912. This is before World War I.
Yeah.
First person to ever sing it, William Frawley.
What? Under what context? Just William
Frawley, Fred Mertz from I Love Lucy, a show directed by also William Asher.
Yeah.
He was apparently he was singing in a club in Colorado, and this was a new song, and he premiered it at this club in Colorado. He was on the show I've Got a Secret, and his secret was I was the first person to sing Melancholy Baby, which is like the equivalent of being like, oh yeah, I was the first person to do Freebird.
So wait. So he's Leonard Skinner.
William Frawley is Leonard Skinner.
So he was born in 1887.
So it was 1912.
1912. So he is 25.
Yep.
Hard to picture William Frawley at 25.
But yeah, he was like a little kind of cabaret, and
the William Frawley version is straight up on the Wikipedia page for this song.
I listened to the Ella Fitzgerald version, and the Ella Fitzgerald version is mostly music, intro and outro, and she's great. But Yeah, it's just the sappy song that was sung by Fred Mertz.
Wow. And he also performed on Lucy Desi Comedy Hour, apparently. It's so wild.
So weird. So anyway, that's my cool thing. So but instead, she wants to recite the night before Halloween.
It is, I mean, this seems like something I would do, but like she's like, what all would you like me to do? Like she like to all the guests. She's like, which of my many great things do you want to see me do?
Which
and
was
she's
also
like, I'll do this.
But it was also a thing from the 60s where people would perform. They would, if someone had some musical skill, they'd break out a guitar and everyone would clap.
Man.
Or recitations were a thing. That's what this is.
Man, parties started to suck.
Yeah.
What happened? That sounds fun.
Especially kids. That's a big thing with like kids would sing like, you know, before you go to bed, come down here and sing a song.
Yeah, I don't want to see
or
that.
do a recitation of something.
They can go to sleep.
This is before television too. So
I guess it like the college bro who gets out the acoustic guitar to sing Wonderwall or like Only in Dreams or something is who ruined this for everyone.
Yeah. That's why John Belushi smashed that guitar in Animal House.
But I would like to have, I mean, I will throw these parties from now on. I mean, my Christmas parties have a huge game, but you know, no one performs. Yeah.
We had for my birthday party a couple of years ago, I remember when we did everyone has to present a PowerPoint presentation. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, see, something more than just show up and drink, because you can show up and drink and do something.
For years, I was doing an event called Monster Society of Evil in my apartment in New York, and people would come over and we would watch bad movies and make fun of them. And that was for a while. It was at least a monthly thing that I was really into.
It was the first time I saw the Pauline Halloween special.
Yeah, I
do believe. Yeah, and also the Star Wars holiday special, which is unforgivable.
Did we also watch the Brazilian Star Wars?
Tramps? Oh, I don't. Maybe, but I don't know if I saw that.
War.
Oh my god!
It's like the three hobos get involved with Star Wars. Did you ever? I didn't show you.
No,
that?
I don't think I saw. Jesus Christ.
My god! We gotta come up. We have to find a weekend for you to come up.
Yes, yeah. So then she recites "'Twas the night before Halloween." And if you want to read the Endora parts, and then I'll do the interjections.
Oh, you got to do it in the voice.
Yeah, duh.
'Twas the night before Halloween, and all who were chic were sipping champagne.
They'd been stoned for a week.
The witches and warlocks in Rome by the score, with the ladies attired in their best by Dior.
Checking their warts as they came through the door.
And the odd little mortals, all snug in their beds, while visions of trick-or-treat danced in their heads. Our children were practicing spells and their chants.
And even the poltergeist pulled off their pants. It is very weird.
It is comedy.
It is, yeah. I do like that 'Twas the Night Before Halloween is mostly about fashion. It's all about all who are chic, best Dior. It's like, I guess, hey, if that's part of being a witch, sign me up.
And believe me, there are multiple poems and books called The Night Before Halloween.
And this isn't one of them?
This is one of them.
Wait, is this actually a real one?
No.
Okay.
I mean, this adds to the corpus of literature, but you look it up on Amazon. There are children's books called Night Before Halloween, and a bunch of them poems and stuff like that.
Do you know all the words of 'Twas the Night Before Christmas?
No.
I do.
Oh.
Well, I know the Alvin and the Chipmunks beat poetry version. But it is essentially the same, but I do know it beginning to end. And it's fun. Maybe I'll do that in drag at my Christmas party and really annoy Seb, who really hates it.
It's really, if it's fun, if you've ever heard people turn the Alvin and the Chipmunks into gloom metal.
Oh, by
just slowing it down to so they're at a normal pitch or even a little bit lower. Oh, their version of Call Me is phenomenal when it's slowed down. Oh,
and listeners, if you go back and listen to the very first year that I did Holiday Gauntlet, I did that did a chipmunk. So I chipmunked myself, and I recorded like I can't remember what we sang or said, but I did record I think 3 different versions of me singing like high, mid, and like low, and then like sped them up and pitched them up or whatever, and did that. So go back and listen to whenever I did that. I don't remember.
Go back to the episode.
Yeah, that's amazing. This is so. Then she's like, Endora, of course, turns his ass into the fountain with the bird on his head.
Bird on the head. Put a bird on it.
He's put a bird on it, and then she's like, Riviera, Paris, where y'all want to go? Boom, Venice, boom. And she's like, why didn't you have the party there to begin with? That sounds way more interesting.
It's all plot
crazy.
Holes.
And she's like, she can have the party anywhere. Okay, well, what's Endora's reasoning here? She can have the plot. She can have the party anywhere. She chooses. She wants to just fuck with Dagwood.
She wants to fuck with Darren.
Like,
she doesn't like Darren. She said it. She said it a couple times. She doesn't like Darren. And that's the point of the show. The point of the show is, dealing with a mother-in-law who doesn't like you.
Am I right? Yeah.
Am I right? I love my mother-in-law. She's amazing.
I love mine.
But for years it was stock and trade of old hacky comedy. My mother can't cook, and neither can my mother-in-law.
Women are awful. I hate being married to mine, but I gotta be ball and chain. I mean, this is what HGTV is built around. Every single home renovation show is always just like, I need a man cave far away from this hag, always nagging me. Keep her in the. It's just like, Jesus Christ, why do you all hate each other so much?
Why do married couples hate each other on TV?
Why is this the default joke for every married couple? As soon as the Property Brothers get within 5 feet of them, it's all of a sudden like, ew, just keep his man cave far away from me. Wine time, yes. Anyway, God. So the end stinger, they're getting ready for bed after the party, and
it's not a good stinger.
No, it's awful.
Not a good stinger.
Darren said, like, he was like, well, it beats dunking for apples, which also, why is that a Halloween tradition, bobbing for apples?
Man, it's a fall holiday. It's a harvest holiday. We went apple picking last weekend in the Hudson Valley. Were they bobbing? They were not bobbing. In fact,
this seems like a bad.
It was very regulated. You have to like walk through turnstiles, and they like check you, and like no bags, and you can't have anything.
That's not the spirit of apple picking. Where's the spirit of apple picking?
It's all volume these days. You got to get.
It's all gone commercial.
We stood in line for like 20 minutes to just buy some like pastries. It was good. Like everything was good. It's just, it's a racket up here in the Hudson Valley.
Yeah. So, Sam says that Darren was a good sport about the whole thing, which he absolutely was, surprisingly. Next year, they'll spend Halloween with his family, which is there's room for a joke there that they just pass over. Because he kind of has a look on his face like, no one celebrates adults don't celebrate Halloween with their family, honey, but okay, whatever. And then Thanksgiving with hers, he's like, okay, she kisses him on the cheek. End of the episode.
Big laugh, end of episode.
Nothing funny, nothing interesting, no like last little like zing from Arthur.
Maybe his family are murderers.
Oh, maybe.
Now that would be interesting. A witch marries a serial killer, and by witch I say TV stereotype witch, not a practitioner of witchcraft, which I have much respect for. This is TV witch who just does magic. It's the same as a genie or a elf, magic elf.
Yeah. Marries a Dexter.
But wouldn't that be great?
Marries a Dahmer. Geez. Yeah, it's a weird little end.
Yeah, it deflates it. It's kind of like when Bosom Buddies had a scene that was completely unrelated to the rest of the episode, and we hadn't really talked to these characters earlier in the show, and all it just ended.
Well, are you ready for some must-have facts?
Oh boy, give me them facts.
There's a lot going on here. So I tried to find the ratings for this episode specifically, but when you report on Nielsen ratings, it seems very obvious that you would just put the numbers, like you just put the list.
Nope.
But for some reason in the 60s, they turned them into stories and would be like, CBS came out on top with, Gunsmoke in 8th place. Rounding out the top 12 was, Dick Van Dyke Show. Like there are no like order and structure and just like there's no context to anything. And so I could not find a Bewitched episode came in 15th around this time. I don't know what the number one shows were because that just wasn't part of the news story for some reason. But for the entire season, it was 7th. And it was tied with Dactari and the Beverly Hillbillies.
Okay.
What do you know about Dactari?
Didn't it take place in like Africa or something? Isn't it like
is that a show with a monkey? It's an American family drama series. Yes. This it's a veterinarian in East Africa, and there is a monkey.
Okay.
Chimp or something.
I knew it from like a one or two throwaway Mystery Science Theater gags.
Yeah. Oh, Erin Moran was in it. Okay. Judy the chimp also portrayed Debbie the Bloop on Lost in Space.
Hey,
working. The top 5 episodes, or the top 5 shows in this season of television were: number 5, the Jackie Gleason Show; 4, the Lucy Show; 3, the Andy Griffith Show; 2, the Red Skelton Hour; and number 1, the Bonanza. Wah, wah. Red Skelton has no cultural cachet, does he?
You know, he's one of those kind of like forgotten things that was really popular and then just kind of fluttered away. I just saw a Facebook ad, which was not a Facebook post on one of my Disney groups, where he had like applied to be an animator at Disney, and Disney was like, "Good job, keep at it." But he
in like the 30s and 40s, or like after he was already Red Skelton.
I think it was before he was Red Skelton, but I don't know. He's just one of those TV personalities like Arnold Stang that you're like, oh, he was a name back then, but you don't know, not anybody now.
It's like that guy, Arthur Godfrey, who had 2 shows in the 50s, and I don't even know who Arthur Godfrey is.
It's just one of those quirks of history, is that people who get popular and then they just kind of vanish. It just happens.
ABC's Thursday night lineup, though, was choice. Started off with Batman.
Yeah.
And then F Troop.
Okay.
Then The Dating Game. Then Bewitched. Then That Girl. And then Hawk. Which I'm like, Batman, F Troop, Bewitched, and That Girl are shows I enjoy to love.
I would have watched this. I would have stuck around. Maybe not through The Dating Game, but I would have watched it.
Oh yeah, and The Dating Game I think was only on during like 1 month. They swapped out that spot in the schedule changed a lot. Earlier this very evening, CBS premiered It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown.
Premiered it?
Yes, this exact night was the night that Great Pumpkin premiered. So I don't know. I think Great Pumpkin's overrated.
I agree.
Because too much of it is just Red Baron dogfights.
Charlie Brown Christmas is so much better.
Charlie Brown Christmas is a perfect piece of entertainment, and
my leg just fell off.
I love it. What?
My light,
your wooden leg? What if?
No, my light fell off that I had illuminating my face.
No, it's fine. I don't know. I do like all the trick or treat stuff, and like It's a Rock. Like that's really funny.
I like
but then
that.
It goes to Snoopy, and he's just Red Baroning all over the place, and it's like, you guys are just padding this out.
And the whole Great Pumpkin thing ends up being just a big MacGuffin, and then like whatever, like red herring, or like there's nothing happens.
But you still watch it. It's fine.
I would much rather watch Christmas, Charlie Brown Christmas.
Oh, by far, yeah.
Music's amazing. The jokes are good.
That is my to
me. All I want is my fair share.
Oh, so good. Real estate. So now let's play What Are You Watching? And now I actually have the synopses for how these things were described in the TV guide at the time. So is October 27th, 1966 at 6 p.m. on a Thursday, and you've come home from work at your fancy advertising agency where you are definitely like wearing a suit and trying to like win like the Colgate account and by coming up with a perfect jingle.
Smoking like a chimney.
Yeah.
That's what everybody in advertising did.
And I'm at my home on the upper east side with my lovely wife, who has not been pleasured in years. And our 0 kids, because she doesn't understand why I keep wanting to know what dresses go with what heels. And I'm like, no reason.
So
what are you going out of town this weekend? Great.
What night of the week is this?
This is a Thursday.
Oh, so it's not like a go out kind of like I have things to do, and then you go to like some like clubs or something like that.
This is the night that me and my wife look forward to because we get to watch sitcoms and talk about all the great outfits. And again, she's just so sweet, and I can't disappoint her.
I mean, I would love to meet this fictional wife and just kind of like pick her brain and
eventually she'll know the truth.
So I'm coming home from my advertising job.
What do I do for a living in 1966?
You're probably you're in journalism.
Or I mean, hopefully I'm writing for Johnny Carson. Like that would be choice.
Yeah.
God. Oh, anyway.
Well, Johnny Carson 1966?
I do. Yeah, I think so. I'm not gonna look it up. I think he did start in like the early 60s. So anyway, on ABC or pick up the TV guide on Bewitched, ABC. Baseball great Willie Mays is one of several interesting but unconventional guests when Endora gives a Halloween party with the weird like apostrophe separating the E's. Party at the Stevens home. That's on ABC. NBC.
He's in it for all of 20 seconds, but enjoy turn on just to watch Willie Mays.
It doesn't sell the episode very well. On NBC, Star Trek, the episode Miri, the USS Enterprise discovers another Earth whose childlike inhabitants are victims of an abortive experiment to impede, and not the word they actually use, normal aging process.
Oh, I see. I see what you're saying.
Which I guess you actually could say that word in this definition because it isn't talking about a person. It's more of an action. But, let's be safe. So childlike inhabitants are victims of an experiment that slows down the aging process. CBS, a movie is on, all in a night's work, starring Dean Martin and Shirley MacLaine. A Playboy publisher becomes involved with a research worker in his company on the mistaken assumption that she is the mystery girl in his late uncle's life.
Oh my!
What low stakes.
You keep putting they're stacking on top of each other. Like, yeah, I'll watch Bewitched. Wait, I want to watch Star Trek. Wait, I want to watch this Dean Martin movie.
Wait, so are you watching the Dean Martin movie?
I'm watching the Dean Martin movie.
Oh man, wow. I'm watching Bewitched because it's Halloween and I love Halloween. And also Paul Lynde is on, and I'm friends with Paul Lynde because we probably came up at the same time together. We've definitely, I mean, we've had sex. Like, let's be honest here. Like, I mean, me and Paul, we came up in New York at the same time. We're definitely hooking up.
You did at one point. And now
we've gone our separate ways. Yeah. I have a wife who I love dearly, and he has a career.
He probably moved out to California.
Yeah,
he's in California. But like, you had your time, and now you parted as friends.
We were not compatible at all because he's too combustible.
Yeah,
I have to be the weird one in the relationship. I have to be the extreme one.
Meanwhile, I have had a hard day working on the Colgate account. Trying to get that Colgate account. I come home. Do I want to watch like a whole bunch of TV? I just want to turn on Dean Martin. I want to have myself a drink, smoke myself a whole bunch more cigarettes.
Yeah, just nonstop.
Nonstop. Ethan in the 60s dies early.
Or surprisingly just lives to be 90, which is how all of those people go out, which is wild. Nuts. Yeah, so I'm watching Bewitched because it's Halloween, and I have a respect for Paul. And my wife just loves him and thinks he's so handsome. She has a type, and it's homosexual men. On IMDb, 290 Bewitched heads gave this episode an 8.4 out of 10. Is that good? A high, low, on the money?
Comparatively, it's probably a really good episode. You got some flashy colors, some flashy music, some guest stars and stuff. Yeah, give it. Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, let's do it.
I would say 8.5 or so. I mean, for me, this is a 5 pumpkins Halloween episode.
As far as Halloween specials go, this is a great Halloween special.
You got a Halloween party. You got tricks. You got some treats. You got Uncle Arthur. You got gorgeous gowns. You got a cat. You got a dysfunctional marriage and Abner and Gladys, which is scary.
You've got heckling. You got a whole bunch of heckling. Love heckling.
Got incompetent local authority.
Heckling goes all the way back to Shakespeare. I love heckling if it's done respectfully.
Yeah, I'm not quick enough to do the heckling, and I'm also not quick enough to take it. So
no.
I'll watch others do it. I can't
get angry. Yeah.
Who had the must-see performance of this episode?
Oh, Paul Lynde.
Not Willie Mays?
Barely seen performance of Willie Mays. He was barely in it.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of that, I did find an article written in the week before in 1966, which I believe was probably a syndicated article. That's Willie Mays magic scores on Bewitched set. And I guess it was some of them was there actually at the set. And so they say they say like the following dialogue ensues. Willie, hi Sam. Sam, say hey Willie. Willie, gosh, it's time for me to pop out to the ballpark. Simple scene? Well, relatively so. Director Bill Asher ran through it with the cast once, then called action. The cameras rolled. It went all right, but Asher thought there was room for improvement. Another rehearsal, and once again, the performers went through their paces. Still not good enough. Let's try it again, the director called out. Okay, let's take it from the top again, Bill said with a grin. The scene went off letter perfect. Willie Mays walked off the set grinning from ear to ear, and virtually everybody on the stage lined up to get his autograph. Elizabeth Montgomery was first, holding out a copy of Branch Rickey's The American Diamond, featuring a 2-page layout on Willie. Then producer Bill Frug's children came forward, presenting Little League baseballs to be signed, followed by Agnes Moorehead, Dick York, and Paul Lynde. So it sounded like they had a great time on set.
That's a long way to go for a ham sandwich. That is like, it's a very banal interaction.
It is 5 seconds, and they did at least 4 takes.
I know. Willie Mays was on set, did a couple lines, people got autographs. Slow news day? What was happening in 1966?
67, this or 66 is what they do. Paul Lynde had the must-see performance. He was great. I mean, this is one of the best Paul Lynde episodes. I love it.
I understand why people liked him now.
In this, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, because if you're going off of the Paul Lynde show and Paul Lynde Halloween special, although I still think Paul Lynde Halloween special perfect.
It's great. It's wonderful.
He's perfect in it. I'm Paul Lynde. Well, somebody had to be. Just so good.
He doesn't work as well as a lead. Like, he works well in the Halloween special, but as a lead, he doesn't work. As a supporting character, excellent.
Yeah. He needs to be the person that's always just slinging the zingers. You gotta love him. And must other people see this episode this Halloween season?
Yeah, go see it. Go see it. It's a good episode.
It's on Freevee, which is free. It is very great. I highly recommend it. But also if you want to go, I think season 5's A Safe and Sane Halloween is what it's called, and it is terrifying.
And still has Dick York, because Dick Sargent took over in season 6.
Yeah, I do believe it's a Dick York jam. I mean, Darren ain't in it that much because it's mostly these little goblins. Very upsetting. Yeah. So Ethan, what other, I don't know, what's your Halloween feels for this year?
Halloween feels, every year Megan and I do a Halloween. We give out trick-or-treating candy to kids who come up. But then at midnight we start a 5-movie horror movie marathon that lasts into the wee hours of the morning. We make snacks, we make popcorn, we make cheap dip. We have a theme. I think Megan wants to do folk horror this year. And then November 1st is our wedding anniversary. So we're taking off the 31st and the 1st as like an extended anniversary thing. We sleep late on the 1st, and then we watched a bunch of movies.
I mean, I'm going to be having a Halloween party at some point. So whenever you want to come down to
put it on the calendar.
Figure that out. I'm working on it. But yeah, it'll be fun because I love Halloween. And we'll be doing more Halloween episodes. Next week will be a Halloween episode from the 70s, which I'll have to research and see which one we'll do, because I don't remember. I've already talked about the Happy Days one, which is very good.
So a lot of, like, behind the scenes, Brett and I usually talk about what kind of sitcoms we're going to do, but I think Brett's going to lead on this one because there's very specific.
So much research.
Yeah,
my years of watching nothing but Halloween episodes or holiday episodes has made this very.
So for that wonderful person who DM'd and gave me a compliment, we will probably get to Get Smart. I think that
we maybe if we stick to a weekly, we'll probably might do it the week between Thanksgiving and start of Christmas, because there's always like 1 week where there's no holiday.
There's no holidays
in this, but yeah, it'll happen. I like Get Smart. Yeah, so that does it for this episode of Must Have Seen TV. We talked about Bewitched, which is super fun, and you can watch on Freevee, or you can buy the DVD box sets because hey, nothing on streaming is permanent. Until then, I want to hear from all of you. Follow Must Have Seen TV on Instagram and Twitter. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Brett White. Ethan, where can they follow you?
Follow me on Instagram at EthanK55.
Well, and please rate and review the show in Apple Podcasts because we still have not gotten any more reviews since coming back. And I want to read a good one. At this point, I would read a 4-star review even. You can also read the words that are at decider.com. I have no idea what sitcom Halloween stuff I'll be covering this season. You know what? It's a whole thing. Who knows? Thanks to Acast for hosting all this nonsense. Please watch the show on YouTube. You can watch this on YouTube and see my lovely tuxedo, which I'm proud of, that I got for $50 on eBay. Lovely little nugget drop the very end. But yeah, thanks everybody, and keep it spooky.